Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Uh, my neon sign tutorial got deleted, and I don't know what happened to it. Honestly, I have no idea. So I am here, and I'm going to show you how to do this again. Probably slightly updated from the last video I did because I've made like 50 some odd signs since I did that video. So I will do my best at explaining this. There is another video up on my YouTube channel covering all of this, but again, I haven't really watched it in a while, so it might be completely out of date, but here we go. We're going to do another one, and I hope you guys can follow along. I start all of these, like, there's a process, right? There's a process. The way I do tutorial. I'm so fucking goddamn. Beep. Okay, clap. Do it again. I'm not editing this. This is actually a live stream that's just going to be posted like this. You need Photoshop, Illustrator, Blender, Second Life, Substance Painter, and some kind of program to be able to do materials with normals and specular. I use Shader Map 4, but you can use whatever you want. Those are all the programs that I will be using in this video just to show you my full process of how I would make a sign from start to finish. Yes, there are a million different ways you can do this. No, you don't have to do it the exact same way that I do. Just take the tools that I'm showing you and implement all of that inside your own workflow. You will be fine. I am 99% sure. So right now we are inside of Photoshop. I'm going to make a sign that I'm actually going to sell. Why not, right? So I was looking on Pinterest just now, just trying to find something that I can quickly make for you guys. Quickly is such a rough word. We're going to be here for probably an hour and 30 minutes. I'll try to go through it and not make this super painful for you, but to be honest, it is a process. So I'm going to make a sign that says troublemaker. There we go, troublemaker. So I made this canvas 3000 by 3000, 72 DPI. Just leave it as that right there. Troublemaker. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a copy of this because this copy I'm going to make maker be outlined. I actually just got off stream a little while ago and somebody asked me how I made the inside of my Hotbox logo like indented, like pushed in. So that's the reason why I'm going to do this tutorial this way. I'll give you an example of a solid sign and an example of a bordered sign. All in one sign. Method. We can call those methods. I've had a coffee and I've also had a chocolate bar. So if I seem a little, you know, I'm just letting you know that there's plenty of not good things in my system at the moment. Okay, so now I've made a bordered version and then I also have a solid version. So I'm actually just going to rasterize these. Rasterize these, the layer style. Rasterize. So once you are happy with the text, you can rasterize them, you can save as a ping, you know, we're just going to do it this way. I'm actually going to crop this down. You don't have to do it this way. It's just, I am a product of repetition, let me tell you. Okay, so I'm going to delete, I have the bordered layer selected, so I'm going to select that all and I'm going to delete it. Now I'm going to select the solid version and I'm just going to delete that. So this is how I want the sign to be. Solid on top, bordered on the bottom. So everything is perfect the way that it is. So I'm going to take off that solid layer on the bottom and we are going to save this as a ping file. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I keep myself organized. Very organized person, okay? So troublemaker is the name of our folder. I first off start off with a folder called prep for preparation, okay? And I keep all of these files. If you ever order anything custom from me, you will see a preparation file. You'll see all the steps that I'm doing right now. So we just saved this as a PSD file. Now I'm going to come in and save it as a ping file. Keep all of the settings for the options and all that just normal, okay? So now I'm going to switch over to Illustrator. We're going to open the ping file that we just made right here. Going to wait for that just a second. Oh, it's huge. That's good. I like to work large. Okay, so that's the reason why I made it 3000 by 3000. I just feel like it just does better inside the 3D programs. So when you come inside Illustrator, don't freak out if you don't know how to use it, because this is literally 2 steps. Come inside Illustrator, click on this solid arrow up here, which is the direct selection. Click on your text, make sure the blue bounding box is there. You're going to come over to properties. If you don't have properties pulled up, you can go to window and then turn it on right here on properties. So this whole thing will pop up here. You're going to come down to quick actions and click on image trace, and you're going to choose default. Let that kind of run, do its thing. Just takes a second. It doesn't look like it did anything, but it did. When it does that little click, you'll see your bar up here kind of like pop up or something. Just kind of lets you know that it's done. So after that, you just click on expand. When you click on expand, you'll notice that there's like vertices all over tracing the outline of your text. That means it works. It worked. I'm not exactly sure. I'm assuming that's like a path cut type of thing, but if it looks like this, you're ready to go. So come up to File, do Save As. You're still inside your prep folder, and we're going to save it as an SVG. If you were working in Maya, you would save it as an AI file. But for Blender, SVG. Keep all this the same and press OK. So now we can close out of those 2 programs, and we need to open up Blender. I already had it open. But I'm failing right now. Like my brain is like shutting down or something. All right, here we go. Here's Blender. So we can close out of all of this stuff. And we're going to go to File, Import, SVG file right here. And we're going to go find our SVG file, and we're just going to click it and press import. So as you see down here, it is sad panda, flat SpongeBob against the floor. We are going to want to flip that up. So I'm just going to drag select and press RX90. Maybe not. RX90. There we go. So for the sake of helping you guys out, let's turn on the shortcut thing here. So at least in my bottom right hand corner, you can see what I am pressing. Okay, so as you can see, there is our troublemaker text brought in as a not mesh file. So you're going to see it like this. It's going to be orange in your screen, or, you know, probably depends on your UI coloring. But basically from here, we're just going to click and get rid of the pieces that we don't want. So we don't want the insides of the letters anywhere here. We don't want this, and we don't want this. So you've got it all correct. You can highlight again to make sure that there's no little pieces left. Every font is different, so just kind of pay attention to that. Make sure that you have it all squared away. Okay, we're just going to close this. So from here, I'm just going to click on the letters that I want to extrude first. So click on the solids, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to click on the border. Those are the parts that I'm going to actually extrude outward. So now that we have all of them selected, I've noticed that when you do your selection like that, if there's one piece that's a lighter orange, that means that it's ready to be combined. If they are all that dark orange and you press Control J, they won't actually fuse together. So when you're selecting, make sure the very last thing that you selected is that lighter orange, and from here you can just press Control J, and that actually combines them to one mesh object. So we're going to do the same thing for the insides here. See, dark orange, light orange, ready to be combined. Control J, and that fuses them together. So what I like to do from here is I right click and go down to convert to mesh. You're going to need to do that for both pieces, otherwise none of this is going to work in your favor. So make sure that they are both mesh, and the way you know is, I don't know if you noticed up here in the outliner, there was like a squiggly line whenever it wasn't mesh, and when you convert it to mesh, it does this triangle. that's how you know, like if stuff is not working, always go to your outliner and make sure that it's triangles. That means you actually did that step. Okay, so from here, I'm actually going to right click and set origin to geometry because I like to have my little arrows in the middle of the text. And I'm also going to remove that black material that Blender has given it. So there we go. We're good to go from here. So I have the main part that I want to extrude selected. So I'm going to press tab to go into edit mode. And as you can see, this looks like a freaking nightmare. Have no fear. Press A to select everything and go up to mesh, come down to cleanup, and then press limit dissolve. Perfect. Takes all that mess away. We're going to press tab again, click on this inner part here, press tab again, press A to select, and then do mesh and then limit dissolve. Everything is ready to go. So next part, I'm just going to extrude the parts of the lettering that I want to come outward. So we're going to go back in edit mode. I'm going to click the top, go back into, see, edit mode and object mode. I think I said that wrong. Okay, let me do it again. Sorry. So we're going to go back in object mode. Make sure you select the main part. Go back in edit mode, press A, press E to extrude, and we're going to pull that out. Just like so. Okay. Following me? Hope you're following me. So let's go back into object mode. And we're actually just going to pull this out to wherever you desire, honestly. However deep you want to make that inside portion, it doesn't matter. You can quite literally leave it all the way back there, or you can bring it even closer, but I'm going to say right there for me looks pretty cool. So I was explaining in my live stream earlier that whenever you extrude the text out, it has these ridges. I hate that. So in object mode, I'm going to right click and I'm going to do shade smooth. That looks absolutely terrible, but again, have no fear. Come over here to your little, like, I don't know what this is called, like a little toolbar. You're going to click on the one that says object data properties. We're going to scroll down to where it says normals right here. And then you're just going to put a tick in auto smooth. So as you can see, those lines, those ridges, those edges are gone. If you were to upload your sign with the ridges, the edges, the ugliness that was just there, you'd actually be able to see it on the texture. So I found by doing the shade smooth, it takes that shit away and you don't have to worry about it at all. We can actually do that to this other thing, although you can't see it. Same process, just make sure that you have checked auto smooth. So we're good to go from here. We're in object mode right now, so I'm going to keep this main part selected, and then I'm going to press shift and I'm going to select this inner part, and we're going to do Control J. So now all of it is one piece. We no longer have two pieces fused together, and you can see that that is reflected up here in your outliner as well. Okay, so whenever I'm making these neon signs, most of them are rezzed up against the wall. So I'm going to save myself some texture space and flip it around to the back side here. We're going to press tab to go back in edit mode, and I'm just going to select one of the faces. This is a trick that my buddy DJ showed me, and I absolutely love it. So select one of your faces on the back, and you're going to go up here to the top tab that says select. We're going to go down to select similar, and we're going to click on normal. That actually selects every single one of the faces on the back side, so you don't have to do it manually. From here, we're going to press delete, and you're going to click on faces. Voila! Fucking best thing ever, I swear to God. Every time I think about doing this, I'm just like, this was the best tip of my entire fucking Blender tutorial life, let me tell you. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go back into object mode. I'm going to press Shift A, and then I'm going to drop a plane, because this is going to be our shadow texture on the back. So from here, RX90 to flip that around, and then we are going to scale that in and then just make it fit the back portions of our text here. This is going to be the shadow. So it just needs to be a little bit bigger than the sign itself. And I always like to make it come inside the sign just a little bit. I like to have my shadows sharp. So if you're a person that doesn't like them to be so sharp, it can be a little bit further back, but I really like sharp shadows. Looks good to me. We'll just kind of angle that up here. All right. So from here, absolutely save you a blend file, because this shit does like to completely tear itself apart sometimes for no reason. So I'm just going to call this Troublemaker Blend. All right, so moving on from here, after we have our text perfect, we've got it all converted to mesh, we've got the limit dissolved, we've combined it. Now we're ready to set materials on it. Okay, so I'll just take you through that step. So let's click on the shadow first. I'm going to press tab, go into edit mode. We're going to come back down here into your little toolbar thing, and we're going to do material properties. Now this is something that has confused me over and over and over, but I'm not confused anymore. I do understand it now. So what I'm going to do, we have our shadow selected, so I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to name this shadow. Pretty simple. I do press tab usually. I don't think it matters, but basically just to get it off of that line, I press tab, and then make sure that you assign the material. Okay, so now we're going to go back in object mode, back in edit mode after clicking the sign, right? Click the sign. Okay, so from here, this is where I used to get confused, but just follow with me. We're back in edit mode. We have our text selected. So from here, I'm going to press A, selects everything. I'm going to create new material, and I'm going to call this base, and I'm going to assign it. So from here, we want to select the front faces of our text. So I'm going to do that trick that DJ taught me again. I'm going to select one face, come up here to the select menu, go down to select similar, and hit normal. As you can see, it highlighted all the faces on the front of the text. However, I do not want the inside of this text right here. So I'm going to press shift, and I'm going to deselect all of those pieces. Just like so. So the only things that are selected right now are the very front pieces. So from here, I'm going to click on the add material slot, the plus button, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hit new, and I'm going to type border. We're going to name it border, and then we're going to hit assign. Okay. So now I'm going to make another material, and I just want it to be this inside text here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add a slot. We're going to press new, and I'm going to name this inside. I guess technically you don't have to break it up like that, but this is just the way my brain works, so just follow with me, okay? All right, so right now we have all of our materials selected, assigned, perfectly ready to go onto the UV process. So in order to UV, we're going to go up here to the very top, and you're going to click on UV editing. And as you can see, it splits the screen up. You have your UV over here on the left, and then your viewport on the right. So we're just going to cam in here to the text itself. Need to go inside object mode. I always start off with the shadow. So we have our shadow selected. You want to take pictures. I always take pictures from the front face. This is just the way that I do it every single time. If you have a better method, by all means, boo-boo, do what makes you comfortable. But from here, I'm going to press 1 and 5 on my number pad. With the shadow selected, I'm going to press U, and then I'm going to come down here and hit project from view, not project, project from view. It's going to take a picture of our shadow from the front facing, okay? So from here, basically, all I do is just kind of line this up the best way that I can. Let me tell you another great thing. I come into UV, and I hit this box right here that says constrained to image bounds. This makes it to where when you resize that, it doesn't go outside of the UV bound at all. So let me just... I kind of just size it up like this. As long as the vertices here are still selected, I just click them and then drag it over to the side, click and drag to the side. And then I always put my shadows at the bottom, just like that. So that part is done. Easy peasy. So I'm going to come back over here to my viewport. I'm going to hit tab to go into object mode, and I'm going to hit my text, and I'm going to hit tab again to go back into edit mode. So I'm going to click outside and deselect everything, come down here to the material properties, and first off, I'm just going to hit base. I'm going to press select. You will know that your base, meaning the sides of the text, is all selected whenever they're orange. So with them selected, I'm going to press U, and I'm going to come up here to Smart UV Project. I'm going to click that. I ignore the angle limit, but I do change the island margin to 0.5. I leave the weight the way it is, all of that the way it is, and then just press OK. So as you can see, it's neatly laid out the side UVs for the text. So from here, I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to press S and Y because I want to scale up and down like this. We're going to put everything all on one map. So I'm going to scale it a little bit more just in case. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to come back over here to the viewport, and I'm going to click outside of it to deselect everything, and we're going to do the same thing for border in the inside. So we just click it, it highlights it. I'm going to press U and do project from view. And we're just going to drop this down here. Actually, going to make it a little bit bigger. Perfect, perfect. Just kind of leave it there. And I just kind of make a note, right? A mental note of like what line this is under, okay? So this one is about halfway point, and I have it right underneath that line. So back to the viewport, click outside, click inside, click select, go to U, and then project from view, and we're just going to have maker, okay? So as you remember, it's above that line there. So we're going to just put this about here. And you can actually measure this out, like just keep clicking, you know, in here to, you know, select it. And then the inside select, so it makes sure both of them are at the same time. And then you just come in here and fuck with the UV till you're happy with it. We can make it a little bit smaller and just kind of throw it there. All right, let's see where our base is. Probably need to make it a little bit smaller. So about there, and then we click on the base. Okay, as long as none of the UVs are touching, then you are good to go. You're solid, okay? So I'm pretty happy with the way this is. So right now, we have our materials on the text itself and on the shadow. So from here, what I've been doing lately from here is that I don't even bake ambient occlusions for the text itself inside of Blender anymore. I go straight to Substance Painter. But I do bake a shadow map for the shadow plane because I don't like the way that actually comes out in Substance Painter. So what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to go ahead and go to the top and click on shading. And I'm going to zoom out. So this broke this up into 4. I don't know why, this is so annoying. But basically from here, I just want to bake an ambient occlusion just for the shadow plane itself. It's just easier, in my opinion. So here are your little nodes. I don't know a whole lot about all this shit. I just know the process, so follow with me here, okay? So in order to make it possible to bake an ambient occlusion, you need to come up here to add. Then you're going to do texture, and you're going to choose image texture, and a little drop down like this will pop up. You click on new. We're going to name it shadow. Make sure you have only the shadow plane selected up here, and if we knew how to spell, that would be great. So I'm going to name it shadow. I'm going to change the size to 2048. 2048. I'm going to keep that black. I'm going to keep that set on alpha, and I'm just going to press OK. So just knowing my computer, having all of these programs open at the same time, it makes for baking to be very slow. So let me just go ahead and beat all that to the punch and just take it offline here. All right, so there's another Blender open. I don't know why. Let me close all these programs. All right. So in order to bake the ambient occlusion, we're going to come back over here to your little toolbar and we're going to hit this little TV right here. It says render properties. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to change the bake type to ambient occlusion. I'm going to change the margin type to extend, and I'm going to change the size to 6. Don't ask me why, it just works better. And then once you have everything selected, we're just doing the shadow plane here, okay? Remember that. I'm going to hit bake. Shouldn't take but a couple seconds for this to run. Okay, while that baked, I went ahead and opened Substance Painter because we will go right in there. But you will know this worked because you will get your ambient occlusion will come over in this viewport. So from here, you can just click these lines, do image, save as. And in our folder for Troublemaker, I'm actually going to name a folder AO and just save it as is, like we're Gucci. Okay, so from here we are back in the regular viewport and I'm actually going to click the text just by itself. It's already been UV'd. The materials are set to it, so it's fine. I'm going to export a day file and we're going to call it, we're going to put it in a folder. I'm going to call it sub for Substance Painter. Troublemaker DA, and I'm actually going to put in the file name that it's for Substance Painter. When you're exporting a day file, make sure you come up here and put selection only and then export the collada. So this will be the file that we take and put inside a Substance and put a pretty material on it. Okay, so from here we're going to animate this front border material face that we assigned earlier. Okay, so right now we're in object mode. We're going to tab and go into edit mode, and we're going to come over here, make sure you're in your material properties, and you're going to click on border and you're going to press select. That is going to be our light layer. So from here I'm going to press P. I'm going to hit selection. I'm not going to hit anything else. I'm going to hit tab, go back into object mode, click the outside, press shift and D, pressing nothing else but enter, and then we can drag that duplicate copy off. If you press anything else in the middle of that, you're gonna make shit go misaligned. So make sure you just do it in the same way that I just did. We're gonna do it again for shits and giggles, okay? Everything is separated. This point right now we're separated. We're in object mode. I'm gonna press shift D, enter, and then drag that out. Okay, so once you have the duplicate, go back here to the piece that you separated, press shift, click the back of the sign, the sides. Remember, just like at the beginning, you have the dark orange, the light orange. That means that you can join it. Press Control J to put it all back into one object, and there you go. All right, now we're ready to animate this lovely thing. So this is probably something that I did not do on the previous video, but I do now. So now that I have the light layer selected, we're going to go into edit mode. I'm going to press A to select everything. I'm going to assign the light itself its own material. Right there. Okay, so I pressed assign. It has its own material. That means whenever I bring it in Second Life, I can use the advanced script that I have to where I can tell it what face on the sign to animate. That's the reason why I do that. If you did it the old way, if you've watched any of my previous ones, I used to separate the light from the sign, but I don't do that anymore. Excuse me, I have a hiccup coming. I can feel it. Okay, maybe not. So nowadays I fuse the light layer with the sign because I have a script that will work, that will coincide with that style of sign making. So from here, while we have the light layer selected, we're going to go up to the UV editor. If yours isn't front facing like that, remember you just have to select that object and press 1 and 5 on your number pad, and you should get back to this front orthographic mode. Okay, so, and as you can see, it's actually lined up and ready to go because we had already UV'd it previously, but I just want to make sure like everything is set, so I'm going to hit that again. Now, this is the part where I don't know if I should explain it like I have in other videos, or if you've watched other videos and you already understand how the animation goes. I guess I will touch on this briefly. Hang on one second. Let me pull up my cheat sheet so I can explain this quickly to you guys. Here we go. Here's my cheat sheet. Okay, so imagine that this text right here is the text that says troublemaker. It's written just plain English, from left to right. Imagine that is your UV. If you rotate your UV 90 degrees clockwise, it's going to make it sideways like this. That means that the light is going to run from the left side of the sign to the right side of the sign. If you rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, that means the light is going to run from the right hand of the sign backwards to the left. If you flip it upside down completely, that means that the light is going to run from the bottom of the text and it's going to go up. And if you leave it just the way it is and you squish it, that means the light is going to run from the top of the text down to the bottom. Make sure you screenshot this, because really, like, when you're doing like fancy, getting advanced with the lighting, this shit gets really fucking confusing. So that's what we're going to think about as we are flipping and squishing here. Okay, so don't ask me why it has to be this way. I don't know. I did not invent this. I just know the process, okay? So if you're wanting the light to run, let's see, I'm nowhere where, okay, here we go. If you're wanting the light to do this, if you want it to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, that's a little bit of a process. It's kind of confusing. But if you're wanting just the light, you see how that white light went from the left to the right of the sign? Okay, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to switch my mode to UV select mode. This makes it to where I can just click on the shells. Just click on the shells, right? And be able to edit each letter in the sign. So if we're wanting the light to very simply just run from the left of the sign to the right in whatever color you desire, you would select everything and press RX90, just like our cheat sheet here, okay, right? It's flipped counterclockwise 90 degrees. That means that the light will run from here to here, left to right. So when you have this selected, you need to right click and choose Align X. Again, I don't know why, but it is how you do the lighting. So you will see that that squished every single letter down to the X axis in 1 pixel. 1 teeny tiny pixel, okay? So we're going to take the constraint off because that does act a little bit weird when you have it turned on and you've squished. So this is how the light will run across your text. So say for instance, let's do it RX negative 90. So we're flipping it the opposite direction. That means that the light is going to be coming from the right hand side and it's going to run backwards. So with it selected, we're going to right click and click Align X. So now you can select everything. I'm going to hit Align X again to make sure it's all smoothie and all on the X axis, and then I'm going to resize it down to fit the UV space. Just like so. Okay, it's easier if you do it this way. So after you have it all in one line and it looks nice, select it, go up to the top to UV and hit the constrain to UV bounds again. So that way you can pull it all the way to the right and it's perfect. Like you're not going over the line, like it's perfect. So something I was trying to explain earlier to people that were on my live stream. If your UV is long like this, that means that the light is going to run slower through the text. If you were to make it small, like this, and shove that to the top, the light is going to hit it very fast. And I was explaining that most of my signs, I make the UV go from the very top to the very bottom, and I will edit the speed inside the script itself. I just do this because I have a little bit more freedom with it, okay? So let me explain something here. So think of these islands right here, these separate little pieces are your text. Like this is the T, this is the R, this is the O. They've just been squished, right? They've just been flattened. So if you were to, when you set your UV up like this, let me just show. Let's wait for Photoshop to open here and I can kind of show you this. I'm going to export this UV for you. We're just going to call this UV. I'm going to show you the difference. Here, let's just go back here, press all, U, project, and say for instance we just squish this. Size this up. Okay, so here's the difference in these two UVs. Alright, we got Photoshop open. So now let's open these two different UVs for the way that I did it. Obviously, when you open up a Photoshop, you're not going to see it right. You have to set it up. So make sure you make a fill layer. I usually do black. Make sure the fill layer is underneath your UV. Then I'm going to change the color of the UV layer itself. It looks like nothing's there, but trust me, something's there. I usually make it red. So as you can see, it showed up here very, very faintly. I'm looking over at my screen. You can barely see it, so I'm going to hit it a few times to duplicate it up. I actually select all of these layers and just throw that inside of a group because I'm going to build on top of it. Let me give you an example. So this is an example of a light layer. As you can see that it runs diagonally, that means that it's gonna like gradually, it's gonna be like a gradient type of look going across your text. If you make it straight, it's just gonna be harsh. It's not gonna go in gradually. It's just gonna be like, it'll go from black to color. Like it's very, yeah, the only word that I can explain that is that it's harsh and it's like straight. If you're wanting the light to like gradually run across the text, then it has to be slanted like this. That's why that's like that, because it's gonna gradually run through each letter of the sign. Okay, so say for instance, let's go ahead and set this one up as well, because I UV'd this two different ways, and I have a point. Just try to follow along with me, okay, for a second. We're going to do this the same way. Okay, so this UV, as you can see, like, it's not broken up. We can't see the T, the R, the O, the U. It got smashed in one x-axis. So with it being like this, that means that the light is going to run from the top of the sign down, but we have no control over T, R, U, B, L, E. We have no control over the individual letters when it's mapped like this. You're just simply going to run like, okay, say you put the light layer on here, and it's just going to run the color from the top to the bottom. We can't make the individual letters blink. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So if you're looking to have that kind of freedom on your sign, you're going to have to UV that individual letter wise, okay? Because if you just smash it like I did on that last one, you have no control over making effects happen on each letter itself. And let me tell you, if you're doing this stuff custom, customers really like you to be able to make each letter blink by itself to make it look like it's actually flickering. So whenever I teach people how to make the signs, it's very rare that you're going to see me just flatten the text just like that to where I have no control over the individual letters. So here again, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to press A and I'm going to UV it based on the view. We're going to make this big again. Highlight everything. Well, let's take this constraint off because it does make it weird. So highlight everything, press RX 90. You can see like it's separated. You know what I'm saying? Like each individual UV is clearly displayed. This is not. If I flatten it, you see we have no control over each individual letter, but if I flatten it like this, you do. So if you're wanting to mess with the lights for each individual letter, would have to be like this. So we have it already separated. I come in here and I mark the guides every single time. This is very tedious, I know, but it's worth it to do it this way. I come in with the guides. I'm pressing shift so it snaps, and I'm just bringing the guide down to the end of the UVs. So let me just show you this right now. I actually come in and delete this negative space because that is not where the UV is hitting, because you can see there's space in between the T, the R, the O, right, for trouble. Say for instance, we wanted the T to be solid all the way across. Like, oh, I was like, why the fuck is that doing that? Make sure your feather is 0 before you do any of this shit. The feather needs to be 0. Say we wanted this to be solid for shits and giggles, right? What the fuck happened to this thing? Hang on a second. Let me grab this again. Yes. When you're deleting the negative space, make sure your feather is 0. Mine was set at 2. That's why it looked fuzzy. So we're going to delete that negative space, okay? So let's take everything off. So this line right here, this top line here, that is just the T. So it comes in fading. It's going to play green. It's going to come in white. It's going to fade to green. It's going to blink. It's going to blink. It's going to go back to green. It's going to do a strip of white. It's going to go back to green, a strip of white, a little bit of green, blink, blink. This negative space here makes it blink. So say for instance, say we wanted the T not to blink. Then it needs to be completely solid all the way across. Obviously, I would edit this because it would be very harsh. But then that makes it to where this light on the T will run solid, but when the R starts, it's going to blink by itself. I hope that makes sense. This is the kind of control that you want with the sign. This is the reason why I'm showing you the difference and how that is UV'd, because this way right here, just smashed, is 0 control. This way right here, where you can see the individual letter UVs, total control. It's better to have total control, promise. So I'm going to go back and we're just going to UV this, and then I'm going to show you everything so maybe it makes sense, okay? So let me come back over here. We're going to hit this again, but I'm in object mode, so that's not good. Let's get the text again. Light, select, U, project. And then we're going to bring this up. So let's do it like my thought process was a little while ago, okay? We're going to bring this RX 90. We're going to press align X. Then on this one, we're going to do RX negative 90 and then do align X. Select everything, align X again, and then we're going to resize it inside of the UV space. I'm going to press UV, constrain. I'm going to slide this all the way over to the left. And then I'm going to go ahead and export this again. I'm going to call this UV3. And that's all you need to do. Okay, we're going to go back into the layout. So this has already been UV'd. It has its own material. So now from here, I'm going to slide this back to my sign. I want to mention that you want to get it kind of close, but not too close, because you know if you make faces too close together in Second Life, they will start to blink. It's also kind of hard to grab that front face there just by selecting texture. So I kind of pull it to about there. That's good. So with the front part selected, then I'm going to hit the sides, and then I'm going to hit the shadow plane, and I'm going to press Control J. So now everything is one mesh piece. We're going to export this as a day, and it's going to be Troublemaker, and I'm going to type SL. Okay, make sure that the selection only is clicked, and then we're going to come into Substance Painter. Remember before I exported the text part for just Substance Painter alone? So I'm going to come up here and go to New, press Select, find that file, Troublemaker, Sub. Here it is right here. It was titled Sub. I leave everything else the same and just press OK. I do the same on this every single time as well. I'm not super skilled in Substance Painter. I only know how to do what I know how to do. So here are my steps. Once the object is in, I come up here to Display Settings. I set the environment map to this one. It's called Brown Photo Studio 4K. You can do any one you desire. If you have a go-to environment map, use that one. I'm going to use this one. It's my go-to. I don't remember where I got it. I download these things for free off of ArtStation, Gumroad. I don't know. I found it on something like that. So what I've been told by my Blender Guru friend, not Blender Guru, but I have a friend that's pretty good at Blender. She says that you're always going to want to look for an environment map that has a lot of lights in it, has a lot of dark spots and a lot of highlight light spots. So whenever you're looking for that, I'm assuming that that's the kind of image that you're going to want to look for. A dark but highlighted, well lit type of thing, right? Type of map. Okay, next. I'm going to come down to shader settings. I'm going to do the specular quality as ultra. I'm going to move the AO intensity to 1, and I also like to hit bent normal. Press X. Then I'm going to come over here to texture set settings, scroll down, see where it says bake mesh maps, click that. When I'm in this screen, I only click on apply diffusion, and then anti-aliasing I set to super sampling 16. And then I press Bake Textures and just let it run for a moment. I hope I haven't lost you. I'm trying to go as slow as possible. Like I said, it's a million fucking steps. But once you've made one sign, it will all make sense, trust me. And then you'll just go from there. You'll get even more creative with your lights, and everything will just make more sense. It's better if you already kind of know your way around Blender and how to make mesh objects. I'm sure it's much easier. So when the baking of the ambient occlusion stops, I'm going to return back to painting mode. I'm going to come to Smart Materials. Your Smart Materials are going to be different than mine because I do like to edit them and make new copies. So for me, a go-to base for my mesh lettering is black. Everything is black, all black everything, okay? So I actually have this edited Smart Material. I think I edited it from I don't know, maybe a black latex that was down here, or just something. It might even been something like this gun painted metal, but I took the effects off of it and just kept the black. So I'm just going to click on this matte black booth. This is the black that I use on all of my event booths. So I'm just going to pick it and drag it up here just randomly anywhere, because I can come back over to the layer palette and I just right click and do initiate across all texture sets and press OK. And then the way I do the light is I click up here to the base. This is the sides, right? This is the UV map for the sides. If you press shift and then right click and scroll, you can see that you can see the lights actually hitting. But you don't need to be looking at this, you need to be looking at this. So this is kind of false advertisement. Those lights are not actually on the top of that. So when you're scrolling, pay attention to this viewport, and whenever it gets lighter and looks like there's more highlights on this side, that's when the light is actually hitting it. So about there, you know, as you can see, it goes dark and then we're sliding and it goes light. Whenever you got it to about the lightest, that's usually where I stop. Okay. So I'm just gonna save it like that, so you just so it's simple, okay? So when I'm happy with the way that texture looks, we're gonna go to export textures. We're gonna find our folder. This is a subfolder, so I'm going to select that. Your output is 2D, your file type is JPEG, your file size is 2048, and your padding is dilation plus diffusion. And I'm going to press export, let it do its thing, just leave it. Now we're going to go inside Second Life. Let's go to somewhere where we can work here. All right, this is my workroom. Welcome to my workroom. I'm just going to do random numbers here. We're going to upload the mesh. So here is the one I have designated for Second Life. So I'm going to upload that. That just means that the shadow plane is attached to it. It's all ready to go. These are actually normally the numbers that I run with. I run with 3,503. I don't know why, just nobody ever complains to me about LOD, so I just stick with it. Go ahead and let that upload and then drop it on the floor. Okay, let's scale it up. Okay, there we go. All right, so here's the fun part. Hopefully everything went according as planned, because if it didn't, I'm gonna fucking scream. All right, so make sure that you click on your mesh sign and go to contents. I will make these scripts readily available for you guys, so you don't have to IM me every 5 seconds, but I use my TR Neon Sign Script 1, turn on and off. That means that the owner of the sign can very simply click on the sign to turn it on, click on it again to turn it off. So I'm going to drag that into the main contents, come over here to select texture. We're going to select that very outside layer, which is our material layer for the light, and then we're going to throw a light texture on it. I'm going to do my sample green. You can come up here and hit full bright. You can come up here and hit glow. Take it down to a white. And let's just take a watch here. See, remember how I said we're setting the top. RX 90 is going to run from left to right, and this one I did RX negative 90 and it goes from right to left. It's blinking because it has negative space on it and also has a flash of white going through it that appears to be a shine. So let's go ahead and upload that one material, this one right here with the sides. Go ahead and just upload it, and we're going to apply that just like so. You can cam in here and do this, or you can also do this method. Sometimes I have to do this because my objects are too close to each other, but I don't know if you know this. I hate calling her this. My ex-girlfriend taught me how to do this. You select on a material on the object, and you see these little arrows here? You can actually flip. Look at the texture box. when you press it, you're flipping through faces on your object. So if you ever get like a shoe or jeans or something that's like full permission and for some reason you can't just select texture and hit the face, do it this way. Select the texture, hit one of the faces, and then hit the arrow and scroll through until you find the one that's white. And then that's the one that you need to apply your texture to. She absolutely changed my life when she showed me that. I was like, what the fuck? I've been here all this time and I didn't know that you could scroll through the textures like that. So kudos to Mimi for that tip. All right, so from here, I'm going to open the shadow. I'm going to press my magic wand tool and I'm going to hit this black part here and I'm going to press delete. And then I'm going to come up to edit and I'm going to do define brush set. It makes a brush out of that right there. We're going to create a new layer. I like to choose a different color so I can line this up perfectly, but basically you just hit it like you would a brush, a stamp, and then go ahead and move it directly over and make sure it is as close as possible, which mine is perfect. So you can hide this, change this layer to black or whatever color you want, really. But as you can see, it's fuzzy in weird areas. So this is what I usually do to kind of cut that down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and rasterize the layer style. I'm going to hit Control and I'm going to click inside of this thumbnail right here. That puts the dancing ants pretty close, you know, to the text itself. So while the dancing ants are going and this layer is selected, I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to hit layer mask. Okay. So from here, I'm just going to right click that black box and choose apply. So as you can see, that cut all of that like fuzzy going on in here. It was ugly. Okay. But still, I think this is too sharp. Like before, you know how I said I like to work with sharp shadows? It's because I blur them towards the end. So I'd rather the shadow to be sharp like this because I can just go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. That's too much, obviously. I hit mine at 4. That's a good blur. It could even be 5. It could even be 3. It really depends on how close you have the shadow plane to your text and just kind of eyeball it. Trust me, once you do this over and over, you'll understand the amount of blur that you want that to be. So after this, I just save it as a ping file, transparent, and then upload to Second Life. Ayo. We did it, we did it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So there you go. Okay, let me see what else I can show you now that we've gotten this far. Let's go ahead and upload that UV. Do it again. We're going to do solid black. Put that under. Make this layer red. I'm going to show you a few things here. Oh my gosh, what did I do? We're going to duplicate to make sure we can see it. Throw all that in a group. Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. We're going to go through it, okay? You're already here. You ain't going nowhere. So we're going to draw some lines. Again, pressing shift so it snaps and just dragging from the ruler down, setting the guides. I'm scrolling with my mouse wheel to go down. This is a pain. There is no other easy way to do it. Don't even ask. It's not worth it. I don't know. I wish there was a way you could just set it automatically, but I don't think you can. You know, because it's transparent, just be like, set guidelines to the ends or something like that. Just automatically do it. That would be lovely. That would take so much time out of your process to just do it manually, but that I know of, I don't know how to do that, if it even exists. So I just do this. Every single sign. Every single sign. So it doesn't bother me anymore. Go to regular view. Okay, so that looks crazy, right? But I have every single letter mapped out. So now I can throw my test texture, which this is the same texture that's on there right now. I'm gonna rasterize this. Let's make this super easy. I kind of start with this every single time, not gonna lie. But I edit it every single time also. Let's make a not so jarring color. Purple, sure, we'll just go with this. Gonna rasterize it. Let's make it solid. So I'm just gonna make it solid for you. So now this texture just by itself, if we uploaded that as a ping, you know what? I'm gonna upload it as a ping for you right now. I'm gonna keep this just like this. And I'm gonna show you the thick I'm talking about. Purple. Right now, there is no blinks. There's no negative space. There's no shine. So all this is doing is running a color through the sign. Okay? Running color through the sign. We have this. Okay. You with me? Hope you're with me. Running a color through the sign. You want to run a gradient through the sign. Okay, so you go up to your blending options. You're going to hit on gradient. Make sure that is 100%. You want to flip this angle to 0 or to -180. Doesn't fucking matter. Whichever color you want to go first. I usually flip mine 0. And then go to your gradient here. Now, I download gradients from DeviantArt. From, I don't know, wherever I can find free gradient settings for Photoshop, usually DeviantArt. So I have literally thousands. So I'm just going to go in here and we're just going to pick colors. This one's pretty different. Okay, so it's going to start off purple and it's going to fade to blue. Still, again, no blinks. Just very basic running color. We're going to save this and come back to Second Life. It starts off as purple and it's going to fade into blue. Okay, see that? Starts off at purple, fades to blue. Very pretty. Okay. All right, so you want to add a shine to it. Pretty simple. You're going to make a rectangle. Make sure it's set to white. Make one about that size. I hate all this. Hate all that, okay? We're going to rasterize it. And we're going to come up here to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And 4. 4 looks pretty good. 4 looks good. So I'm just going to say okay. And depends on what you want here, okay? Do you just want it to flash white? Like here, we'll just leave it like this. This will be flash white. Oh, we'll just do 2. I'm going to duplicate it. We're going to do this one, tilt it, so you can see the difference in what it does. This one is going to flash white. This one is going to gradually go across the letters as white, okay? So let's just do these. There you go. We're catching the tail end of it. Flash white. That one's gradually. Do you see the difference? If you leave it straight up and down on the UV, it's going to flash. If you tilt it, it's going to gradually run through the letters. I hope that makes sense. I have no idea how to explain that any differently. So let's add a couple more. I'm going to just select both and duplicate them and then run it down the sign. So let's do this again. You'll see the effect that it does. See? Easy peasy. Okay, so let's make the entire sign blink at one time. So this is why I had this earlier set to 2 up here, the feathering. If you set it to 2, that's a good blur, okay? So come down here and we have our rectangular marquee tool. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to select a little piece, about like there. Again, my feathering is set to 2 because I like the subtle look of a blink. I don't want it to be harsh. So that's why I have the feathering set like that. Andy is different. Andy does her signs different. I think she likes a harsh animation because I noticed that she doesn't blur things very often. It's like a straight edge cut. So it really just depends on your own personal preference. If you don't mind a straight edge cut, then there's no reason to feather it. I happen to like blurry, smooth, you know, transitions. But if you like the really harsh blink, don't Gaussian blur anything. Just leave the box as is, okay? I like the blur. So I have that selected. I make sure that it's on the main color and just press delete. As you can see, it's fuzzy. See? It's fuzzy. It's not super solid. But I can show you super solid if you want to see that too. Let's change this back to 0. We'll do a harsh. Okay, so these negative spaces that I'm putting in here is where the sign is going to blink. And it's going to blink all at one time, not individually. I'll show you how to individually do it in just a second. So let's save this so you can see the difference. Again, my script for this way, you can click it as the owner to turn it off and then click it to turn it back on. So there you go. It's a harsh turn off. Comes back. The other one is just kind of quick. It's just not as, I don't know the other word. The only thing I can think of is harsh. This is not as harsh. If you're wanting it to double blink, you know, kind of look like it's glitching, then let's go back to, I'm going to make this 2, the feather. Make the feather 2 again. I'm going to select a smaller space here. We're going to delete that and then just kind of move it over. Delete this. Do it again in like different spaces. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so now we're just gonna go from here. Yeah, make sure it's a ping, override it. Right now we're doing local textures. That's how it's updating in Second Life Live. It's a local texture. But there you go. The flashes are a little bit more seizure inducing. So if you're wanting it like that, that's how you would take away the negative space. Now, what if you wanted the T to blink, the R to blink, the K to blink, the E to blink? What if you wanted individual letters to blink? Well, since we set up our UV map to show individual islands, we can do that as well. So let me go back. And let's turn our guides back on. Press Control H to turn your actual guides on here. And I'm going to leave everything the way it is. I'm actually going to, I flattened it, okay? So from here, I'm going to take away that negative space so I can see my letters clearly. Oh, fuck. It needs to be, make sure it's 0, okay? Make sure it's 0. On the feather. If you're fucking with the feather, make sure it is 0. So you're going to come in here and you're going to delete the flashes and the main color. Again, bear with me. It's tedious work, this shit is. You could also come in here with a black rectangle and just put black rectangle over it. Oh, what'd I do? Must not have it selected. Hello? Black rectangle or deleting is either way works perfectly fine because it's just negative space and it will allow you to see each individual letter. Okay. Control H to take our guides away. So now this is a little bit more palatable, okay? Because remember, this line right here is the T, this is the R, this is the O, U, and so forth, okay? So if you're wanting each individual line to, each individual letter to do something different, you have to edit the line different. So here's the T. We want the T to blink first. We want T-R-O. This is the U. There we go. I'm going to do this randomly, okay? Just picking random spots and making the text blink. You can literally do anything. You can make the text blink by having negative space. You can add a different color. Say you wanted the R down here to be a completely different color, then you would select this. I'm going to duplicate it just for the shits and giggles of it. Let's pick a red or something. Say you want it to be like that. Instead, I would definitely delete this part to where this is the only color that it is. But yeah, you would just come in here and make your very random negative points. Okay, this is pretty random, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that bottom portion and we're just going to override and you're going to see the difference. Oh, that's the M at the bottom. Ah, it's the M at the bottom because remember we rotated it the opposite direction. Again, it gets confusing. That's why I said to make sure you keep the cheat sheet so you can kind of imagine what it is that you're doing, you know. But remember, this one was rotated the opposite direction. I thought that that was the R. It's actually the M. But you see what I'm saying? Say, like, let's go back. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I didn't just completely lose everybody. But as you can see, each individual letter is blinking. It looks like it's flickering. That's a very popular animation style for custom. Like they want it to look like it's short-circuiting. So that is how you do that. If you want it to like blink pretty close together, then make it blink close together. Just be like boom, boom, boom. You know? Do it however the hell you want. Like, get creative with that shit. I'm pressing shift and then arrow twice so it's evenly spread apart. Let's move this down. You get the idea, right? Let's see what letter this is. That's just about to spaz the fuck out. The bee. The bee's going crazy. That's it. That's how you would do it. Gosh. It's nuts. You can do this for any color. You can do it all one solid color. You can do them all different fucking colors. You can... The sky's the limit, man. Get freaking creative. Go for it. Be my guest. Be the best damn... be the best damn animation person you could possibly freaking be. It's all about just fucking with it. Make it whatever colors you want. Let's see. I'm just gonna take this off screen here and do some weird edits just to show you. Shit. Well, I can't go all the way back, but... Hang on a second, I'll make an edit here for y'all. You know what? I'm just gonna say, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Hopefully this was a little bit more thorough than any of the other ones that I've done before. I hope I didn't confuse you, but I tried to explain it to the best of my ability, and this is what I do every single day. Like, I literally do the process that I just showed you every single day. I've changed the colors here randomly, so... If you get stuck somewhere, just go back through and look at it again. See if you can figure it out. So as you can see, those change different colors, and that's all I did, is I just changed each individual letter a different color, and then press save, and then there you go. Pretty cool, right? Let me show you one thing before I let you go. Just let's make this like a bonus round, okay? This is bonus. I have no idea how long I've been talking for, but bonus round, okay? So we're gonna go to UV editor. Oh shit. We gotta go backwards a little bit here. Let's get this separated again. UV editor, project. You want to know how I did the Black Friday signs? That's also popular too. Okay, so back to our cheat sheet. I want the light come from the bottom to the top, then from the top to the bottom. So what I would do is I would rotate the T, RX, RX 180, flips it upside down. That means that the light is going to come from the bottom to the top. So I'm going to leave the R the way it is, because that means the light's going to come from the top to the bottom. And we're just going to rinse repeat. RX 180, every other word, every other letter. RX 80, RX 180, RX 180, again RX 180. Okay, so again, remember what I taught you earlier is you don't want to select everything and just smash it like this, because you have no control over the individual letters. Unless that is what you plan on, do not do it that way. So I'm going to go Control Z, and the best way to do this, it is tedious, but is just to line it up each individual letter at a time. Just like this. And the reason why we're not squishing it yet is because we want the light to run from top to bottom. If we were to like rotate, it's going to come from the left and the right, and that is a cool effect too, but that's not what I'm going for on this one. I want it to go from top of the lettering bottom to the lettering, like going up top to bottom, right? Bottom to top, etc. If I wanted it to come in from left to right, then I would rotate the letters 90 degrees clockwise and it would come in from the left. And like I said before, if I did the -90, it would come in from the right. So now we have everything lined up. Let's move the L. Looks a little bit. Okay. Everything is lined up. You're going to select everything and press X. We're going to scale it down to fit the inside of the UV space. Hit the constraint. Pull that up. I'm going to save the UV. UV4. Save. We're going to come back into the layout tab and we're going to move this back to where it was, roughly there. Select all pieces, press Ctrl J and export to Second Life. Export day, Second Life 2. Let's upload this. To 3,500. 3. Let that load. Throw it on the ground. Gonna throw our textures on it. There's the shadow map. Here's the base. Here's the base. Here's the base. So we can click on this. It's still 3 because we didn't do nothing to it. We're going to make the whole sign white. We're going to come in here and go to the neon shit folder. We're going to drop the script, select the face, and throw a random. I'm going to just do a shine so you can see. It's running really fast. Remember how I told you you can go into the script? So if you're wanting this to run slower, I actually set this to 0.45. Press save. Running slower. Oh. There you go. Now, this particular light that I put on here is PNG. It's alpha, but it has just the white lines going across it, right? So let's open this up. UV4. Drop black on it. Pull it down. Let's go find that texture. I don't know where I threw it. Here it is. This, bruh, why are you doing this? Hang on. There. That is the light script that I have in Second Life right now. It's just the white lights. If you wanted to add lights to it, I mean other color to it, I'm just going to throw that other practice one I had. I'm going to throw this in here. I'm just going to edit it the same way. So make sure your feather is on 0. I'm going to come in here and just solid, make this solid again. Maybe let's make it all one color. Let's make it a gradient and let's pick something pretty. Let's do some greens. There we go. That's pretty. So there we go. I'm going to slide this on top and now we're going to look at see how this looks. Save. Save. So we're going to come in here and we're going to select the face, go to texture, hit the tab, hit local, and then go in and find, oh, that was it. Here it is, 4. There you go. It is moving still very fast, but it is going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then it's changing color randomly as you go through it. Oh, something weird is on there. You'll know when you mess up, because you'll have little blips like that, and you'll be like, all right, now I gotta figure out where that little blip is. Not sure. Oh, it was the UV. The UV's still on here, so I didn't take it off. You can do it with any color though. So you just want to make this flat. I'm gonna do red. You can do red. Save. Alright, I think I've gone above and beyond what I did before. So I hope that you understand this a little bit better. You're able to follow it a little bit better. I will go ahead and put a download link inside the description to where you can get my scripts. And I will look at what else. Maybe I threw in there some practice lights or whatever that you can do too. I don't gatekeep this shit. Like, I don't care. A lot of these lights I made myself, but I use them over and over and over again and just modify the light. To me, that's easier than drawing a cube, like drawing a rectangle and then slanting the front of it and then doing the fuzzy layer at the end. Like, I literally use the same ones over and over. I just modify them. And shit, sometimes I don't modify them. Sometimes it just looks good when you put the test texture on it, and I'm like, hooray, it needs to be blue. Change it to blue and you're done. Again, you can just click my signs to turn them off. You click them to turn them back on. There you go. So I hope that this was a little bit of an easier follow along for you guys. If it's not, I can always do it again. It's just the same process every single time. Let's see. I did mention Shader Map 4. I can show that to you real quick before I exit out of here. Shader Map 4, I use this to create normal maps and specular maps, but like for a sign like this, there's not much to it, so there's really no reason to do it, but I will show it to you. So basically what I'm going to do is take that this one texture right here from Substance Painter, this one, and that's the one I'm going to drop in here. So just come over to here. Substance, we're gonna grab this one. It does some really fancy shit here. Let's see if it'll do it or if I've got too many programs open. Nope. So you can just grab this and tilt it like so to be able to see your texture. I think it's like this. If you're doing the specular, you have to crank it up. You got to turn some stuff on because really there's nothing to it, right? But as you can see, that's adding like specular. It's adding detail to your texture, right? That was not naturally already there. So you just have to like play with these. Depending on how you want that material to be in world, you heighten the contrast or you lower the brightness. I think in this case we have to heighten the brightness to get that to come out. So just kind of bump this up a little. All right. That's fine to me because there's nothing to it. It's not like it has any dirt or any grime or nothing to it, so it may not be that big of a difference. But whenever you're happy, this is the specular. You just come over here and you save it. And if you want the normal map that belongs to that specular right there, here's the normal. You do the same thing. Just save it. And then from here I close this shit. And then let's just apply it to this sign right here. So I'm going to upload those two maps. Here's the normal, here's the specular. Of course, you guys can do this with Substance Painter. I don't think that you have to have Shader Map. Shader Map was free. Like, I don't pay for it, but that's the only thing that I use are those two things. So we're going to click on bumpiness. This is the normal. So we're just going to slide that in here. And then we're going to do the specular. You just slide that in here. I think I always choose like 150 something. I mean, it's not great, but again, there's nothing to it. Like, there's nothing, the only thing I have in the scene here is I do have lights. These little boxes up here are lights, so it is reflecting that. But on the texture itself, there's nothing to it. It's just smooth. But if you're wanting it to make it even more fancy like that, that is how you would do it. And I also don't have like projectors and all that turned on. Not that it really matters because we're indoors, we're not outside. But there you go. If you're wanting that to be a little bit more fancy, you can make materials for the sides and have lights inside your scene inside Second Life. Okay, kids, love your faces so much. I'm gonna go smoke weed or something. I don't know. I'm gonna go find something to do. I hope that this tutorial will help you even more from the last one that I did. I'm sorry that that video got deleted. I will do my best to try to get it back. But I love your faces so much. And what did I say? An hour and 30 minutes? We're at an hour and 30 minutes. So I hope this is better. If it's not, leave a comment. I will try to check them, and I'll do my best to not accidentally delete this video. But thanks so much for hanging out with me, and happy neon sign making. You guys can do it. I believe in you. I will see you on the next one. Bye.